in your line.
Good morning. It is Friday. Been a long week. May 1st. Happy May 1st to everyone. We are getting closer and closer to being adjourned. But we are also getting very close to finishing our work in agriculture. We are basically have a last miscellaneous bill, H 942. We are getting some cleanup items added to it. We have a technical correction language to fix S60 that the governor signed into law. But there was a couple of glitches in there that we promised that we'd fix before we adjourned. Our attorney Showman has that language, so we're going to attach it to H 942. We are still waiting for a fiscal note from JFO to help us support our equine part of farming to allow it to be used in allowed to be in current use. But that doesn't mean that we can't pass that bill out. I think we'll have that language, if not today, by Tuesday. But I'll ask the committee where their preference is. And there is an amendment that's going to come on H 941 that we'll talk about. And but anyways, Senator Collmore.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So there were two items which are proposed amendments to 942 that Attorney Showman has drafted. And you mentioned the equine one, but there's also a excise tax or the tax on logging equipment.
Yeah.
And we were going to wait, I thought, for some sort of fiscal note on that because we will be asking the floor what kind of hole it creates.
I talked to Dana Doran this morning.
Okay.
And they do have a fiscal note from where they did it last time, and he's going to supply that to us.
Okay.
And so he's doing his rounds today. So we do have that fiscal note that we can attach and we can hand that over to finance when they want it.
Where it's going to go.
Where it's going to go there. So,
okay.
So we do have that, but I do appreciate you bringing that up.
Yeah, those are the two things, equine change with tax and then also the logging equipment retail sales tax. So if those two are taken care of in terms of having fiscal notes on both, I don't know whether we need to see the whole bill kind of together again or I don't know.
Okay, well, let's have Attorney Showman step up and go down through with what he's got, and then we will have a conversation about that.
Okay.
Welcome, sir. The floor is yours.
Thank you and good morning.
Morning.
Glad to show up to Legislative Council. And I'm going to share my screen. We'll go over the amendments. There's been a couple of changes or additions to the proposal for amendment for H 942. And so I will go over them.
We have it printed up.
Okay, great. And the draft version is 4.1. And so this first instance is exempting convenience stores from the unit pricing piece in 942. And so I did this a little bit differently than was suggested. Essentially what I did here was I added the definition of convenience store to the definition section of this bill, or of that section. And so convenience store means a type of retail establishment that sells a limited number of everyday items, such as motor fuels, tobacco products, made-to-order food, snacks, and beverages that serve a quick and accessible retail option for consumers who typically purchase a small number of products, and that does not offer sufficient quantity of consumer commodities to make unit pricing useful to consumers. Convenience store does not include a grocery store, drugstore, dollar store, or any other type of store. The Secretary has the discretion to determine whether a retail establishment is a convenience store. And so that's approximately the same definition that I received for convenience store. I did look at definitions of convenience store in other, because we don't define it in our statute and or our law. And so I looked in some other states and often they use things like milk, bread, those kind of like nuts and bolts products to include in there. I don't think that makes that much of a difference in terms of this definition of a store. I did just note that motor fuel and tobacco products were unusual enough things that I researched whether that was a particular type of store that you were talking about as opposed to your Cumberland Farms or 7-Eleven or something like that. So you could quibble about that, but I think suffice to say, the convenience store is adequately defined here in statute. And then so the second instance of amendment actually adds in the exemption. And so we're at the top of the bottom of page 1. So we're amending the subsection that talks about that discusses exemptions to the unit pricing. So the unit pricing requirements of this chapter will not apply to commodity sales as follows. So you'll see the retail store exemption is still in there, 7,000 feet or less, square feet of floor space or less. But as you know, that exemption does not apply if you have 2 or more sales locations as part of that company. And so it seems that the committee wanted to also include the convenience stores piece that might have different chains and different locations. And so we added that in as item number 2. And you see the convenience stores and then moved everything else down a little bit. And so the rest of the statute is unchanged. It's just kind of moved down. And that's the change for those 2.
And as I recall, the retail grocers and the agency of agriculture kind of together came up with the exemption piece.
I think that from the email that I received, the agency was neutral on the language, but they said it was workable.
Okay. Great.
The third instance of amendment is that equine farming. Nothing has changed since the committee's seen this last, so I'm happy just to go past that. Actually, one thing has changed. So let's scroll all the way down to the bottom of the bill. And so we're on page 11. And so based on a feedback from JFO, they recommended that the equine for current use piece take effect on July 1st, 2027. Because it does affect the ed fund, it would give enough build-up time to deal with those ramifications and kind of amp up to that.
And that was the date they were looking for, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. I want to just flag something that's going to come back to us, and I don't want to miss it. And it's not anything to do with the bill, so I apologize. We're going to have some language that's going to come back in the hemp language. We are working on a problem right now. Exactly. It's almost like we were visionaries when we're doing this work on hemp, where we were fixing the hemp language so that our businesses can do business out of state. And really have the seal of Vermont behind them, have the protections. And we have a business in Wolcott right now that has a big tractor trailer order. They're actually in the state right now with Federal Distributing, they're distributing all over. They have a big order going on where Connecticut would like to buy from them. And Agency of Agriculture has worked with them or with Connecticut, trying to get Connecticut to feel okay about it. Connecticut won't do it until we pass our language that we're working on the hemp part of it. They need that assurance. So, the fact that we're doing good work that's going to make the difference is great. But that's not the point I want to make. If and when we get that language out, I don't want to forget that on that part of the bill, we'll want to make it effective on passage, and so that we can make sure that order can continue or whatever that goes on. So, this committee's good about reminding things and all of that. So again, apologize for jumping into something different, but that's come to mind.
That's 323.
Yes.
Okay, I'll remember.
And so now we are on page 5, toward the bottom. This is the Community Economic Development Initiative, and then so it's continues our conversation for Friday or today's today's Friday. And so the instruction for the committee was to try to find some kind of limiting language that would instruct READY, the Rural Economic Development Initiative, to prioritize rural areas and small towns as in statute, but to also give them the flexibility to fund projects throughout the state. And so what we came up with was first on page 6, line 3. This is approximately the same with one change. Community development initiatives means priority projects located throughout the state that support agriculture, historic preservation, outdoor recreation, and other critical development needs, which may be supported but when the state resources and staffing assistance is not available. And
What did it say before?
so the words priority before
Oh,
project was
okay.
not in there.
Okay,
And then the word may be supported was also not in there.
okay.
The priority projects refer to the list of projects that are later down in on page 7, subsection E on line 13.
Actually, I think page 6 at the bottom primarily.
Yes, and we'll have another primarily. I was just referring to the priority projects
Okay,
that this subsection refers to. And so it's meant to incorporate the rest of the statute to make sure that you're not broadening, you're just broadening the geographic scope. You're not necessarily broadening the substantive scope of what Ready is doing. And so now we'll see some changes. You'll see on line 15, we're adding the word primarily. And so the committee discussed potentially adding a percentage limit. And there's pros and cons to that, that the committee weighed. And so based on feedback from Ready said that they were comfortable with using the word primarily, which means at least most, so at least 51%. But so this language was saying appropriate to access funding and other assistance available to small towns and businesses primarily in rural states, or excuse me, in rural areas of the state when existing state resources and staffing assistance is not available. Subsection C, the same language. The Rural Economic Development Initiative shall provide following services to small towns and businesses primarily in rural areas. On page 7, we added an or as just a conjunction between subsection 1, subsection 2. It's not meant to change anything, it's just for clarity. And then on subsection E, line 13, page 7, the Rural Economic Development Initiative shall include the following priority types of projects. And so it's been the practice of Ready to have these be an inclusive list and not an exclusive list. They do sometimes fund priority projects that are outside of the scope of this list, as is their practice. And based on conversations with the committee last week and conversations with Ready, using the word include just to kind of conform that to their practice. Was instructed with the committee last week. And then the rest of this, I added in the reporting section. I just updated the name for House Agriculture. And but there is a report that Ready does submit every year about their activities and funding activities. And the committee, if it so desired, could put in statute to have a specific focus on programs that are funded in rural areas versus other kinds of areas. I believe I won't testify on behalf of Ready, but I believe that they did indicate by email to me that they would include that information in their reports anyway. And that's that section.
Everybody good with that?
yeah, that's
You good with that?
wordsmithing. Yeah,
Thank you.
Okay.
Was God good with that?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, so we are on page 8, the 5th instance amendment, scrolling down to page 9 for the retail tax. Retail tax fees. And so this is a subsection that, or excuse me, this is the section that amends the retails and use tax, or excuse me, the retail sales tax. And so this would exempt equipment. This would exempt equipment under subdivision 51 of this section. And we're scrolling down to 51. And so the equipment in 51 is logging equipment. And in addition to equipment that's already in statute, would add semi-trailers, tractors, truck trains, truck tractors, trailers, and motor trucks and motor vehicles with a manufactured listed gross weight of 10,000 pounds or more. And then the Department of Taxes may require a purchaser at the time of renewal to certify that a motor vehicle or other equipment is under this section. As used in the subdivision, motor vehicle has the same meaning as the 23 VSA 421, and motor truck has the same meaning as the 23 VSA 420.
Everybody good?
Yep.
That?
I get.
And
Said I get.
I'm sending to Matt something, Matt, an email. Could you post this to our committee page? This is the language that, Attorney Showman has with the, for the S60. I want you guys to take a look at that, to make sure that you're all good with that. And I do that so that we can review it and, so as soon as he does that, he'll post it.
and
I could
then,
email it all to you guys as well. Maybe I'll just do that as well.
And what was that?
It's the language, that is, we had promised the governor that we'd fix on S60 that had some conflicting, just a word.
Cross reference.
Cross references of some words. So let me just do this. Let me go, major, JOR. Let's go right here. Boom, 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 boom. I didn't put a subject in, so I hope it don't go to your spam, but, take a look at that. Bradley, are you okay with that language?
I'm okay with the language. I can put it up on the screen.
Yep.
Mike drafted this. And as far as I'm familiar, it's conforming language. There's two different parts in this subsection that's there's two different parts in the subsection that deal with administrative review and who makes those decisions. So it's conforming language to clarify that. And we are okay with the Office of Legislative Counsel looking at these changes. If you refresh the minute, it should be on the committee page as well.
Yeah, could we please, Matt? Just to have anybody else that wants to see it. Might have some concern. I don't think there should be any concern on it, but, that's not for me to judge on what other people might think. Vinny, are we good? Rob?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, what's the committee's preference? I'm not at all bothered if we wanna vote this bill out. Bradley can get it so that we can have a vote on it if you'd like. I've been pretty much assured that we would have the language on the JFO part of it by Tuesday. Might even have it by the end of today, maybe have it through the weekend. But by the journey of what this bill is, it's not gonna get over. You know, by the time we get it on there, it's probably gonna be on the notice calendar for Tuesday. And so then we have till Wednesday, so go to finance, and then we should be able to have that language. I'm fine if you guys wanna vote it out. I wanna let you guys make that decision.
I'm indifferent there.
Sure. Great. Anybody have any reservations about putting this out?
I don't.
Okay,
So I'll move, we vote out, is it 4.1?
So it'll be 5.1, and I'll add this as an instance of amendment before the,
you're fine if we vote this out?
yeah, as long as the committee is. I mean, I can also go back to the office and add this in and then have a draft back to you by 10.
What,
If you'd like to actually vote on the paper, but
no,
up to you.
we'll wait for the, yeah, we're not gonna wait, I'm not gonna have you run over there and run back, but at some point in time today, we can get it up to the secretary's office.
Okay.
So I'll restate my motion. We vote out draft number 5.1 of page 942 favorably. And we are amending, it, so with amendments.
Do we have the paper? Right here, thank you.
5.1 with amendments.
Yeah, 5.1.
Okay. Gotcha. I smell what you're cooking.
I just ask anybody think that we have anything else? This is the last train out. I think we've done our work.
Don't even discuss that.
No. Okay. That's on another one. That's gonna pass it.
That's on the paper.
Right, yeah.
All right, so we're voting out 942, 5.1 with amendments. Senator Calmore,
Yes.
Senator.
Who's the hesitation? Well, it's Collimore, but
Oh,
it's okay.
it's like getting called Pepperman, sorry.
For majors.
Yeah.
Oh, you just twisted that knife. And only one of me.
Senator Major,
Yes.
Senator Plunkett,
Yes.
Plunkett, and Senator Eagles
Yes.
with an F.
Who wants to report this one?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
You're good?
I'll do it.
Okay.
Yeah, it should be pretty easy.
Yeah.
So that is.
Well, congratulations to the committee. We're gonna have some stuff come back over. Well, yeah, we're gonna have some conferences and,
Oh,
but, I don't know, we'll see.
I'll send that as soon as we get it back. Yeah.
And, so yeah, so you would take that up, right? Cause you're
Yep.
gonna report it?
Yep.
Okay.
yeah.
So,
Do you have to do anything with this or just?
Yeah.
All right, so once you get it,
Clean copy and, you gotta sign as a report and the vote.
okay, so I think that we need to take I do have to have, a drop vote, on this amendment that's come over. I think, I am not in favor of this amendment. I think that everyone's had a chance to come and talk about this. We've been assured, nodding of heads, that everybody was fine with our language. And at the end of the day, if you're not, you're more than welcome to come into the committee and to talk about it. Nobody came in and talked about any of what we've had. It's the same amendment that we pulled last time. And I'm just gonna have anybody want any discussion about this?
nope,
Hands as far as who wants to not support this amendment.
We're voting not support.
Not to support. Okay, so that's that. Anything else that anybody wants to talk about this morning before we adjourn?
this is pretty much gonna wrap up ag.
This is gonna wrap up ag until we have something going, so. Good. Well, I just wanna thank everyone for a very very impactful year. You guys make the work look easy. We got a lot of work done, a lot of important things done, a lot of good things done. And I've only, as I told you, I only felt angst one time, and that was when we were trying to meet crossover, but you guys knocked it out of the park. And it's funny that you don't know if you ever do enough, but then when you have attorneys come in and you have other people saying, "Boy, you guys get a lot of stuff done." You guys did it with ease and grace and professionalism. You showed up ready to work, and it makes a huge difference. We work well as a committee. The respect that you guys show one another is impressive. Absolutely, positively, you should be proud of what you've done. I'm going to go with some words of what Senator Collimore said, which I think should not go unrecognized. This work that we've done on the municipal regulations on agriculture, I think will be looked back as landmark legislation. And I think that's very important. I also want to compliment you guys on what you have done with the hemp language. I mean, we went and solved a huge problem. And the problem is, what do you do with hemp when you're trying to get these folks to grow it and market these products and move them outside the borders, the boundaries of our state? And then, have other states feel secure that they are willing to have the backing of the state of Vermont behind these products, so they run into a problem. And we're already seeing, as I said to you this morning, about one company trying to move into another state with a state unwilling to accept this product until they have the stamp of approval from the state of Vermont. Very huge language. Another thing is the way that we are looking to grow agriculture in the state of Vermont. You've heard me say it a million times, and I appreciate that you guys bear with me on some of the stuff I repeat, but my words are my words. And the fact that we have honored the smallest people in the state all the way up to the largest producers of milk in the state and everyone else in between, and deemed it important and understood that if we were to grow agriculture in the state, that's more than likely going to come from the small person that wants to get bigger later. So, job well done. I'll quit talking about that, but very proud. Again, probably the last time you'll be able to hear me say, very proud of you guys for the work that you've done. And probably not black dog, but
I'm gonna say, you're gonna say it again.
But I am. I'm very proud of the work that you've done. I also want to recognize Attorney Showman, who has been nothing but phenomenal. And I mean that from everything. It's very, you get very nervous. You have a trusted attorney like we had with Michael. But we didn't miss a beat at all. In fact, in some ways, not to say anything about Michael because we love him, and but we didn't miss a beat, and in some ways, I think even have bettered ourselves. So thank you for all what you've done. We appreciate your knowledge, your availability, the way that you work. We appreciate it very much, and we always feel bad about adding things at the last second, at the last moment. But you've done it with grace, ease, professionalism, and we appreciate that. Also, want to recognize Linda for the work that she's done. She's not here today, but Linda has made, I think, for all of the committee, the workload in this committee very easy, and she was always prepared. And it was never Linda ever that was held us up in any way, shape, or form. So again, thank you. And if anybody's got any comments, feel free.
So,
Yeah, really.
Okay.